Hello. So it's going to be maybe a little confusing because the way that I am going to be recording different things as well as then editing and uploading, it might be a little bit out of order. And so it might be confusing. But anyway, today is Thursday, January 8th, 2026. And I did a bunch of stuff for CES just recently. Today was my last day at CES. And then I came home, ate dinner, took a nap. And now I'm just up getting stuff knocked off of my to-do list. And so one of the things that I had on my list to talk about, that I wanted to talk about, is the holidays. Hold on one second. And the reason why I had written down that I wanted to talk about this on my to-do list, shout out to my shirt that I put on, because you guys can't see me in the same pajama shirt all the time, although I do wear it all the time. And like I said, I do have a washer and dryer, and I'm not funky or anything. But the reason why I wanted to talk about the holidays is because I had an especially difficult hibernation, quiet, peaceful, super alone holiday season this season. And I did mention it in the monorail video I posted about Christmas Day. In 2024, I had reconciled with some people that I call family, even though we're not blood related. I reconciled with them after an 11-year hiatus of not speaking to each other. And then in 2024, I spent Thanksgiving with them and Christmas with them. I'm not sure. I think maybe New Year's as well. And then in 2025, disagreement, rupture back in the relationship. And we are not entirely on speaking terms, transactional, polite, that kind of a thing. And happy holidays type of thing, but definitely not like it was. And so that made this holiday season especially hard. But generally speaking, I don't like the holiday season that much. I do not like the time of year at all. And so I have a little list of my notes, and I just want to run down my notes. And because I'm just learning that I'm different than maybe a lot of people are about a lot of things. And so I just kind of want to run down my notes, because I know a lot of people, enjoy the holidays and love the holidays, but the holidays are not my favorite time of year. And then my estrangement from the people that I call family, who live here, made it difficult, because they didn't invite me over. I haven't talked to them other than group chat, happy holidays type messages and that kind of a thing. So, but let me just generally say why I generally, since I've been an older adult, have not really loved the holidays. My father was murdered back in 1988, and I was 19 years old or 18 years old at the time, something like that. And then some other tragedies happened in the family. Additional family members died. And our family just kind of fell apart. Like, we used to have really, really great holidays and great holiday celebrations. And the nostalgia of having those holiday celebrations with big family gatherings and food and fun and everything. It just, a lot of times I feel sad that I don't have that anymore. And it's a combination of me living here in Vegas and not having that particular family like on my dad's side, be here, number one. Number two, most of the elders on my dad's side have either passed away or are not in the, either that, or we're just not tight anymore, or there might be some Alzheimer type situation. And, I think that this, does happen to families when family members get older and they pass and all the things. And then all the children have moved into, not all, but many of the children have moved to different places. We're all not really close like we used to be when we were kids. And then on top of that, they all have kids. So it's like they have family, but I don't have kids and I don't have grandkids. So it's like I don't have that. So that also just makes the holidays kind of sad sometimes for me. And then I would say also too, when you're scrolling through social media and you see all the people that have families and they have the pajamas and the whole thing, it just is like, the world is telling you you're supposed to be living life in one way, and it's like a constant reminder that I don't have that. So anyways, let me just quickly run through the list of why I do not love the holidays or the winter season in general. I'm a sunshine girl. I love the sunshine. I love the blue skies. So I hate is a strong word, but I really don't like the winter season when the sky is gray. I don't like rain. I like the idea of snow, but I grew up in California, so snow is not really my thing, except the idea of like a cozy cabin where I'm with my boo, which I don't have, and it's romantic and we have hot cocoa and all that stuff, but I've never really had that, so that's just a romantic idea. And then on top of that, it gets dark early, so that's another reason why I don't like the winter time. I like summer. I like the sunshine. I love those nice evenings where the sunset is happening late in the evening. I have a pool, and I can't use my pool in the winter. My pool is not heated, plus it's too cold outside. Also, too, what made my holiday harder this year is that I lost my assignment and my contract that I had, where I was making a decent living where I could sustain myself. I lost that in the beginning of November, and then I worked an event, which definitely helped me sustain me financially. But being unemployed during the holidays is not cool at all. And I also had interviewed with a company where everything seemed really, really promising, and that they seemed like they wanted to move forward, and then they ghosted me. And so that was also a source of sadness for this particular holiday. Told me, we're busy right now at events, but we'll get back to you. And I haven't heard from them since then. And so being unemployed and looking for work is not always easy. And then dealing with the limiting beliefs of, I can't make the money I want to make and do the things I want to do because of my age and blah, 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 makes the holidays harder. A lot of times what I'll do during the holidays is I'll end up, doing the gym thing, going to dance classes and stuff like that. And that does help. But anyways, it's not the greatest time of year. Don't like the gloomy weather. Like I said, can't use my pool. My pool is not heated. I also know that wintertime things, people are very, very focused on family and all the things. So a lot of things related to sometimes work slow down, things related to events slow down, and all the things. And what I made a mistake of this past holiday season is, instead of looking for events for people like me, I just kind of didn't do that. And so I'm going to make some adjustments so that I don't have this same issue. Like by the time I got to New Year's, I was like, I'm going to find something to do. And I did that. And I also started going to a couple events like deeper into the holidays. But like, yeah, I know what adjustments to make next time so that I make sure that I don't feel the way I felt this holiday season. But it is a resting and hibernation season. But there are a lot of events that people do during the holidays, so I know how to be more active and get out there and do things. It's just also hard because even if friends invite you over and all the things, they have family, you know? And even if my own family invites me over, they all have their own family. The only immediate family that's close to me that I have is my mom. And I'll have that in my notes where I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. The other thing is, and so, you know, being around everybody else's family reminds me of the family that I no longer have or that I had when I was growing up. And by the way, if you go to my website, www.nicoledford.com, there's a tab on my website or a page where there's a ton of pictures of my family and me growing up and all the things. So you could see kind of how big my family was and how close we all were and how much time we all spent together. And then on top of that, a lot of the time that I spent with family and all the kids in the family was with my dad. And since my dad was murdered, it's just kind of hard because it just reminds me of that tragic loss. And like I said, almost all, and my dad's side of the family is the only side of the family that I really know. I don't really know my mom's side of the family. And that's a long story that I'm not going to go into. But all my dad's brothers and sisters, except for 3, have passed away. So, you know, it's a part of aging, I guess, and I'm just being honest and acknowledging my true feelings and, you know, not trying to spiritually bypass myself and look at the bright side. It's like, yeah, there is a bright side, but there's also true feelings. The other thing I would say is, so the other thing that I wrote down is that some of the family that I do have, let's say I don't necessarily know that we're on the same frequency. I don't know that we're actually interested in the same things. You know, like, I guess in life, what they say is you grow apart. And so I don't necessarily know that I resonate with my existing family that exists now. I feel like I'm just very, very different. And you know, I've done a lot of work on myself to heal what I would call generational trauma and all the things. And I'm not sure that most of my family, I'm not sure if they've done any healing whatsoever. So sometimes that's also a factor, is that I know that it's a possibility of, you know, just taking family in small doses and saying, okay, we'll do it on the holidays or whatever. But I'm not really close to most of my family. What else did I write? I said also, even though I'm introverted and love to be at home, I also love to sit around talking over a good meal. I also like to be active. And so that's the other thing too, is that I grew up in an environment where we were very active. And so like sitting around talking about TV shows and movies and politics and stuff like that doesn't really interest me, or just complaining about life kind of thing. Stuff like that doesn't interest me. And so I generally connect with people more when we're active and going out and doing things. And I don't necessarily mean like physically active, because I'm still working on that, but I did grow up being physically active. I grew up in sports. I grew up in dance and music and all the things in my family. My mother kept us very, very active. And so, like, people who just like to sit around and talk and have a glass of wine, I also don't drink. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. It's just that I probably have to take that in smaller doses. And even growing up, we went to childcare after school, and the childcare had us in all kind of activities. So I'm just used to, I love to sit around and laugh and have a good time. But that also, I think, sometimes separates me from some maybe family members. And speaking of that, like my mom said the other day about one family member, she said they all probably need therapy like the rest of us, which was surprising because I was like, oh, is my mom saying she needs therapy? Even though she would never do that. Also, too, the other thing I would say is that as much as I love my mom, and let's say that I could, take a trip to the Bay Area and go see her on the holidays and all the things, sometimes me and my mom don't see 100% eye to eye. That's number one. Number two, my mom, she's very, very health conscious, extremely health conscious, and she has been for a long time. And so what she calls good food and what I call good food is not always on the same page. So it's not like I would go to her house and she would cook an amazing holiday meal. Like my dad's side of the family cooked all that stuff, even though it's unhealthy. And so going to my mom's would just remind me of all that I lost, I feel. And it can feel very lonely, quiet, and desolate. So that's really not the answer either. Anyway, I covered everything that's in my notes. About 20 minutes in. And if I think of anything else after I re-listen to the video, I will let you know, or I'll add to the video. But those are my thoughts for now, and make it a great life. I'm so excited and happy that the holidays are over. And as maybe quiet in hibernation mode that I was in the holidays, baby, now it's on and cracking. I'm knocking off my to-do list. I'm out and about. I'm doing events. And, it could be a point where I even burn myself out because it's like, girl, you're doing too much. I have plans to go to 3 events this weekend. I just did CES, and, I have to now, I don't have to, but I choose to now put all my vlogs together for CES and all this stuff. So I'm active, I'm busy, and I feel good about that. And so, I'm willing to acknowledge that maybe the holidays, God orchestrates it for me that way to give me a chance to rest so I can be energized for the new year. Anyway, that's it. So my spirit is telling me to say, and to just be honest, is that the holidays are depressing, especially in the sense of all that I lost compared to all that I enjoyed growing up as a child. And that's just the honesty of my feelings, whether it's right or wrong. My spirit is also telling me to say that once I get my finances more together, probably the better thing to do would be to take a trip and do something that has nothing to do with the holidays during the holidays, so that I am focused on the trip and new beginnings and new activities versus the idea of having dressing, macaroni and cheese, turkey, cranberry sauce and all the things, and sitting around and having family time. Like, just create new traditions. And when I get my finances more together, that seems like a good idea. Like maybe go on a cruise or something like that during Christmas. And also too, what I would say is that the things that I did do on Christmas and New Year's was wonderful because I went to the monorail station and, there was a lot of people walking around on the strip, and it didn't feel like Christmas because it was like, what are all you people doing here? You're supposed to be, quote unquote, with family and a Christmas tree at home. And so that definitely helped. The thing that I did with the monorail, and there's the video that I've uploaded regarding my trip on the monorail, that helped. And then going out on New Year's Eve by myself to bingo, that was also a hit and a great idea. And I would say that I didn't even have a bad Thanksgiving because I actually ordered food from a couple different places that I know that their food is good, because there's been other times where I've tried to order plates from people and it's like, ooh, this doesn't taste like my Aunt Barbara's cooking, or my Aunt Pearl, or my Aunt Nikki, or my cousin Bitsy. Like, we had some people who can cook good, and so, or even my Aunt Rose, but I say that to say that I finally found a couple different restaurants where I could get different dishes, because everybody's macaroni and cheese is not good, even mine, and I don't like to cook at all. So anyways, my Thanksgiving was good also, but I just approached the whole holidays with dread and can't wait till they're over. And so now I'm juiced and energized, and I'm getting all kind of shit done, and I love it. So, I'm going to insert some pictures from my website, just so you can get a little visual of what I mean from my childhood memories of different holiday celebrations, birthdays, that kind of a thing. It's definitely not all the pictures that I have or all the memories that I have, and it's probably not even all of my family. I just went to my website real quick and downloaded a couple pictures just to add some context to what I'm talking about, because those are such fond memories for me. And I would say that the other thing that other people have that I don't have, and I know I said it already, is that I don't have my own children, and I don't have my own grandchildren. And therefore, that whole like love and everything that you could pour into your children and creating new traditions and new things and new memories and all that stuff, I don't have any of that. And so that's what also makes it extremely difficult, is that I am completely by myself. And then on top of that, the people that I consider to be family, I was estranged from them, and we were not on speaking terms for 11 years. And then we got back together, and we had a good 2024, even though, like I said, being around other people's families that are not my childhood family is still difficult for me. But then 2025, we quote unquote broke up, and so I was back by myself. But in a way, it almost turned out to be fine, in the sense of like, okay, well, let me try to find some other things to do. So like I said, maybe when my finances are in a different and better situation, the best thing to do would be to do something like go to the Caribbean or the Caribbean, or however you pronounce it. I don't really want to go to any places where there's not, that's for another conversation. All right, so yes, I will add some photos in here just to give you some context of my wonderful childhood memories. And I'm so glad the holidays are over, because now I am pumped and ready and excited for 2026. All right, so this is my college graduation from UC Berkeley. That's my mama on the right in the pink jacket. Next to her is Aunt Barbara, who has passed away. That's me. Not the most flattering picture of me, but me. And then that's my cousin Kevin, who also graduated. My Aunt Rose, also RIP. and my Aunt Nikki, who is still here. This is Halloween at Aunt Barbara's, which was a tradition. We used to go there and go trick-or-treating. That's me in the rollers in my hair, standing next to my dad, and that's my Aunt Barbara and my cousin JC, they're both sitting on the floor, and RIP JC, Aunt Barbara, and my dad. This is also Aunt Barbara, me, Kevin, Aunt Rose, and Aunt Nikki. And that's in the foreground is Renata, who I failed to mention previously. But RIP Aunt Barbara and Aunt Rose. In the next photo coming up, that's also at my college graduation. The next photo is going to be, let's see, that's Uncle Jimmy, my grandmother. That's little George and the little boy, as well as my cousin Bitsy. RIP all of them except for my little cousin George. They've all passed away. And yeah, that's my Uncle Jimmy is my dad's, or was my dad's brother. And Bitsy was there for my cousin because Uncle Jimmy is her dad. This is Uncle Melvin, me in the red dress, Melvina in the purple dress. This is at Melvina's birthday party. The other picture is of my dad and my dad's brothers, Uncle Jimmy, Uncle Bill, Uncle Alvin, and Uncle Melvin. And all of them except for Uncle Alvin have passed away. So that picture is from my grandmother's funeral. This picture is either Christmas or Christmas Eve at Aunt Rose's house, which was also a tradition. In the silver dress is my cousin Burchelle. JC with the bow on her face. My cousin Raquel in the white dress with the red and blue. That's me sitting in my dad's lap. In the background is my cousin Alex. And I'm not sure who the other person is. It might be Jeffrey. This is at Melvina's birthday party. That was at my grandmother's house. That's my mom in the red dress. That's me in the red dress. Uncle Melvin in the white. Melvina in the purple. Cousin JC in the yellow. I'm not sure who the other children are. But like I said, we used to do a lot. We did a lot. Next picture is going to come up shortly. Just give it a second. This is my Aunt Pearl. This is my mom. And this is my Aunt Nikki. Aunt Pearl is still alive, but I believe she might have dementia. Aunt Nikki is still alive. Aunt Nikki is doing well. And she has her own grandson and her own children still. They're all alive and living in the Bay Area. And that's my mom in the middle. And Aunt Pearl, she has her children and grandchildren. This is us at Great America. This is me in the blue, Melvina in the beige, my cousin Jeffrey behind my dad, and that's my dad in the middle, and we're all at Great America. Again, my dad was a fun dad, and so we used to have a great time, and my dad would have all the children together doing stuff, and he took us to Great America in this picture. This picture is Christmas celebration with Bitsy, and you can see George, Bitsy's son, Renata, Larissa, Cecilia, I think is in the picture, yes, and Cecilia's family, Maisha, I think her name is. That's me all the way in the back in the red jacket with my hand underneath my chin. And Bitsy is the one probably took the photo. This is, Pearl used to do events also, and so this was one of her events. And that's my cousin Bitsy, my cousin Marky, Aunt Nikki, and my mom at Aunt Pearl's event. This was after my dad had passed away. That's me in the red jacket. And then the next picture is going to be, surprise, let's see, this is going to be Christmas at Aunt Barbara's house. This is also after my dad passed away. But you can see Bitsy in the background, my cousin Sherry, my cousin Jessica, Jessica's dad Charles, my cousin Burchelle, my cousin Jennifer, my cousin Samaya, my cousin Melvin, my cousin Jeffrey, my cousin Raquel, my cousin Bernard, who's passed away. Burchelle has also passed away. My cousin Danielle, Kente, and then Aunt Barbara. And then this is my first birthday, and that's my dad holding me. I'm in the pink. And yeah, I'm not going to name the people in this photo, but because I don't know all the people in the photo. I know in the back in the dark blue is George, who was at one time Bitsy's husband. And then these are my cousins, Kente, Melvin, Sherry, Jennifer, and Jessica. But, you know, we've all moved apart and haven't seen each other in years. So it's been a long time. But this was Christmas at Aunt Barbara's house. And then there's one more photo after this, I believe. Obviously, it's Christmas with the stockings in the background. That's funny, Nicole. Okay, and then this last picture is either Christmas or Christmas Eve. It was a tradition at Aunt Rose's house. She used to have an eggnog sip, and that's my Uncle Sonny in the background in the black. That's my dad in the yellow or beige. That's me in the red dress. My cousin Raquel in front of me, and my cousin Alex. And that's, like I said, just a snippet of the memories. We used to have holiday celebrations. Anyway, thank you for watching.